Hello there, how you doing? Joe Barnes here and welcome to another episode of Make It Happen Monday. Now you may or may not have seen over the last few weeks some periscopes and images and videos and all sorts flying around my Facebook page and my Twitter account with me in various places across the world. And that's because my big sis and I just did an 18-day tour around 6 different countries. And we started off, we flew out of Phuket, we went to Bangkok, and then we went from Bangkok to Vietnam. We went from Vietnam to Hong Kong. We went from Hong Kong over to China, where we visited Shanghai and then Beijing. And then we went from China to Tokyo. And we spent a few days in Tokyo and then back down to Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia before flying back to Phuket. So it was a really, really brilliant and fantastic experience. Very tiring. By the time we hit Tokyo, we were both pretty whacked out, but it was just amazing. And if you didn't see it, then while I was on the Great Wall of China, I was overtaken by Mark Zuckerberg, the one and only creator of Facebook. He overtook me going up to Watchtower 1 with some of his guys, some faces I recognise actually, so obviously some people from Facebook, and they kind of trotted up and I went and I got a picture of him which was on my Facebook page, and I also managed to get a little bit of him on a periscope. Unbelievably, the internet worked all the way up on the Great Wall of China. But more importantly, sorry Mark, but more importantly, I also managed to periscope the Great Wall of China while on it, which was pretty spectacular. And I'm going to put a link below this video to some of those periscopes, including that Great Wall periscope, because I was on there for quite a while. Please don't feel you have to watch the whole thing because it's a good 20 minutes or so. But it was incredibly spectacular. That was probably one of the highlights of the trip, actually, up on the Great Wall of China. It was just amazing, breathtaking to see. So anyway, so why did we do the trip? We did it because we wanted to have some fun. We wanted to spend some time together. Me and my big sis, she lives in England, I live in Thailand, so we don't get to see each other very often. So we wanted to spend some time together. We wanted to visit some big cities, see a little bit more of Asia, and just have some really great experiences and have some fun. But I thought what would be quite fun when I got back was just to do some lessons that I learned while traveling. And I've got my notes here that I'm going to be reading from, but I've got some travel lessons, okay? So it's just some basic travel lessons. If you want to go traveling and you want to see some great things and have some great experiences, I've got a few tips on that. And then also some tips that I thought about while we were away to do with business, really, and how this kind of affects life from a business point of view. So let me go through the travel ones first, okay? So if you're looking to travel and do like a whistle-stop type tour like we did, so you're going to go and visit quite a few places, even if, say, you're going to one country, but you want to go and see quite a few places in that particular country over a short period of time. One of the key things is to plan what you want to get the most out of in each place, okay? So make sure that you look exactly where you're going and then plan what it is that you want to see. Where do you want to go? Try and get some maps off the internet before you go. The internet is your friend. Google is your friend until you get to China, and then Google is not your friend, but we'll get to that in a minute. So secondly, one of the things that we did really well, it really benefited us, is we packed lightly. So we only had hand luggage. That meant that at each and every airport, especially if you're doing quite a few countries or places and you're flying from place to place, we didn't have to hang around and wait for our baggage. So pack lightly. Also, the other thing we did, which was brilliant, is rather than get to these countries and catch a taxi to go to your hotel, metro it or tube it or bus it or monorail it, we did in Tokyo. This means that you are kind of really getting, and because you've only got hand luggage, of course, it's easier to do that. This means you're really getting into the community. You're really experiencing the culture, getting to know how sort of people live on a day-to-day basis. In some cities, like in Tokyo, in China, it was super super, super busy and you're jammed in and there's all sorts of experiences to be had, but it just really means that you do a lot more, you see a lot more of the country or the place that you're in, because invariably at the end of the metro or the monorail stop, you've got to walk to your hotel as well, so you see a little bit of the area, and it's just a great way to experience the place that you're in. So don't just jump in a taxi and do the taxi thing, experience the life there. The other thing we did as well, this works in cities, maybe not so well in rural areas where this probably won't happen, but I've got a tip for that, is we did hop-on, hop-off bus tours. So what this meant is that everywhere we went, we got in the first sort of few hours really, we got a really good idea of the lay of the land. We kind of figured out where things were and all the rest of it. So if we wanted to go back and see specific places, we could jump on a metro or a tram or whatever and go back there. And we knew that because we'd done this tour. Now, if there isn't hop-on, hop buses because you're going to maybe rural areas, then a guided tour, is going to be just as good. Jump in a taxi, pay somebody for a few hours to take you around the area and tell you where everything is. The other thing we did as well is we had a little bit of cash for each place we were going before we got there. So if you get to the airport and for some reason your card doesn't work or there's a problem or whatever, you've got a little bit of cash, so you can always get the metro or a taxi or whatever to get to where you need to go. So a little bit of cash in the local currency is always a good thing. Before you get to any country, especially in Asia, I say this, okay? Before you get to any country, especially in Asia, even if you're just coming on a holiday and you're not doing a whistle-stop tour, Google how much a taxi should cost you from the airport to your local hotel. If you're going to go the taxi route, not the metro route, Google how much it should cost you, because otherwise they will try to rip you off. Unfortunately, it's very sad, but they will. In Vietnam, we knew that it was going to cost us 130,000 dong to get from the airport to the hotel. And when we got there, sure enough, the meter showed 120,000, and the guy tried to tell us that it was 120 times 2 because there were 2 of us. And because I'd already Googled it and I knew that it was a bit scammy, I was able to say, no way, get the concierge from the hotel and send him on his way. So do make sure that you Google how much things are going to cost you before you go, because you're a tourist and they see that you're a tourist, and whammo, they think that they can wiggle their way into your purses a bit deeper. If you're going to China, work everything out before you go. Because once you get to China, there is no Google, there is no Facebook. And yes, you can use a proxy. Yes, you can go and get a VPN, something like Tunnel Bear didn't work. We used ARK VPN, A-R-K VPN, and this means that essentially you're searching from another country. So I was able to access Google and stuff like that periodically on there. But if you arrive there and you haven't thought of that, then it's quite a frightening experience, because you stood there thinking, oh my gosh, I can't Google, I can't find anything out, what am I going to do? So if you're going to go to China, please be aware that it is a standalone, on its own country that doesn't really want the rest of the world looking in too much, or them looking out too much, really. The local people looking out too much. So there's no Google, there's no Facebook, there's no Instagram, all of that kind of stuff. So just make sure that you are prepared before you hit China. And the last thing is, if you're going to go on a whistle-stop tour and do loads of countries in a short period of time, get fit before you go. Because I didn't really exercise too much before I went, and I was shattered by the end of it. And I've actually come back with a renewed vigor to get a lot fitter, so that when I go and our next tour is going to be South America, hopefully next year or the year after, and I want to be super fit to go and do that. So what did I learn from this trip from a business perspective that I can share with you? Well, first of all, I really think, the big picture, if you like, is that there is a whole big world out there with millions and millions and millions of people, and it's ripe for the picking. So if you're sitting there with your business and you're thinking, I'm not getting any traction, and maybe there just isn't enough people interested in this niche or whatever, there are millions and millions of English-speaking people in different countries that want to, change their lives or do other things or learn about stuff or buy products or whatever. I mean, there's just millions of people. So try and, think bigger, think broader, and realize that your little sort of corner of the world is a very, very small part of what is actually out there and available to you. I mean, as an example, when we first started selling on Amazon in 2015, I was amazed at how many people were buying our product every day. You know, we're talking hundreds and hundreds of people buying our little product every single day, every week, every month, all through the year. And then it increased through Christmas, you know, to tens of hundreds, you know, not that we didn't quite reach 1,000. I think we got 990 something or other, you know, per day. So basically and that's just in the US. And that's just one product, and amongst the thousands, tens of thousands of products sitting on Amazon, yeah, ours is just one little product, and we had hundreds of people buying it every single day, every week, every month, all year, and still are right now. So it blows my mind actually how many people are actually out there looking for products and services. Secondly, if you're going to go traveling without systems and resources in place, you will find it challenging. So in other words, I did struggle a bit. I only took my mobile phone and my iPad, and I did struggle a little bit with being able to do some of the things I wanted to do. But luckily for me, I've got a team in place. So anything I was unable to do, I was able to contact my team and ask them to do it. Plus we had some systems set up before I went, so things were going to continue running while I was gone. So, you know, if you are planning to go and do some traveling, do make sure that you've got systems and resources set up in your business first to give you the freedom to do so that you're not traveling and worrying constantly about what's happening in your business, okay? Thirdly, take a power pack. For your mobile or your iPad, if you're going mobile, make sure you take one of them power packs. I actually bought one where did I buy it? Was it Bangkok? Anyway, it doesn't matter. But I bought a power pack. And basically it means that when your phone runs out or whatever during the day, you can just charge it up on the go. Also, as I just said before, plan ahead of the trip to ensure that the wheels are turning while you're away, okay? Do travel, I think, is one of the... I was thinking while we were away, how much that being away was allowing me the time to think about my business and come up with new ideas and get renewed enthusiasm for certain things and all the rest of it. And while we were away, my sister and I were having these huge life-changing conversations about, you know, different things we wanted to do when we got back and things that we weren't doing with our life yet and all that kind of stuff. And so, you know, getting away from it, even not just traveling, just having breaks and going out and getting away from the daily grind, if you like, is really good for the soul. You know, it really allows you that time to just sort of think about life and think about where you are and think about your dreams and your goals and whether you're moving closer to them or more away from them, or, you know, what do you need to do to ensure that you are moving closer to the things you really want out of life. So any kind of rest, whether it be travel or just a weekend break or even just a day out, is really, really good for the soul, to give you the time to step away and make sure that you're heading on the right path and in the right direction. And then last but not least is to, while you're out and about, and this doesn't just pertain to travel, this pertains to everything, grab inspiration from other businesses and other things that are happening around you. I mean, one of the best ways to do that is literally to travel around the world, because you see so many different things and meet so many different cultures and see the way that different people do different things. But while I was away, I got so many little ideas and things for my business that you may well start to see in some of my blog posts and different things I do, and the way maybe I'm going to change some of my branding a little bit and things like that, just from looking around me and seeing what other businesses in other areas are actually doing and what's working well and what looks really good and all of that kind of stuff. So do make sure that even when you're not traveling, just going around your local neighborhood, etc., to grab inspiration from what other people are doing in totally different industries to you to help you with your business. All right, so there you have it, a quick update on our trip and some lessons and tips that I learned along the way, which I hope that you have found useful. I think really my big takeaway from this is that while I was traveling around all these countries, I realized that I was doing something that I've always wanted to do. In fact, just living here in Phuket, I'm doing something I always wanted to do, which was to travel, to see the world, to see different cultures, different places, different people, and to have completely new and different experiences. And I'm living my dreams, you know, I'm living what I dreamt about all those years ago. And I'm doing it because not only have I taken the action and put the work and the time and the effort and everything into building a business that gives me the freedom and allows me to do that, but also just because I looked outside of the box and I thought, and I knew I could and I knew I would. So I have no challenges for you this week, apart from below this video, I'm posting the link to my Make It Happen Monday episode, Don't Live a Limited Life. I posted it a couple of weeks ago, and it's basically the story of how we got started, how I started traveling, why I'm now here in Phuket, and how I did it in the early days on a shoestring budget. In other words, how you can start living your dream before you even believe you have the resources to do so. So go and check out that video if you have not yet watched it. There's some challenges on the end of that video, and you can do those for this week. That is your challenge for this week. In the meantime, if you've found this video fun and useful and interesting, do please share with your friends, subscribe for updates and other goodies that I send out to my subscribers. Of course, please come and have a chat with me in the comments box below. Tell me your story, tell me places you've traveled, places you want to travel, all of that kind of stuff. Let's talk in the comments below. And of course, live on purpose and make it happen. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.